Welcome to another math video. So we're continuing on with trying to solve these word problems using systems of equations. So remember, we're not being asked to use one specific either substitution or elimination. So we'll pick the method, and the method will be determined by the equations that we end up deriving out of the information here. In this problem, we may or may not have to draw a picture because this is going to be a little bit interesting. The length of a rectangle is 85 meters longer than the width. If the perimeter is 402 meters, find the dimensions of the rectangle. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of off to the side. I'm going to draw a rectangle. That's a poor rectangle, but it'll do the job. Perimeter. What the hell is perimeter? Perimeter is when we go from one point on the outside of that rectangle and we go all the way around the perimeter, all the way around the outside. So what did we just do? Well, we wrapped around, so we went a length, and then we went down by a width, and then we went back by a length, and then we went up by a width. So that means the perimeter really is just two lengths and two widths. We're going to have to need that. We're going to need that information here in a little bit. So it's asking us to find the dimensions of the rectangle. We're just going to define some variables here for first. It sounds like length and width, L and W, are going to be our variables. That seems pretty natural. So L equals the length and W equals the width. It's really good just to define our variables straight out of the gate so that we know exactly what we're dealing with when we're doing our equations. All right, so let's develop our equations. It says the length of a rectangle is 85 meters longer than the width. Let's read that and let's try and develop an equation based off of that sentence. The length, read L, of a rectangle is, so I think equals 85 longer than the width. So 85 plus the width, or width plus 85. So that's actually our first equation. Our first equation is L equals 85 plus W, or W plus 85, however you want to write it. The second equation, if the perimeter, so the perimeter is 2L plus 2W, if the perimeter is equals 402, well, we have our two equations. And I don't know about you, but because we already have one of our variables isolated, this is set up really well for substitution. So we're not going to fight it. We're just going to go along with the flow, and we're going to go with substitution. We could rearrange this top equation or the bottom equation to do elimination, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a very natural process, so we won't fight it. First thing, we have to substitute. So let's substitute the 85 plus W into the L, because that's what L actually is. 85 plus W plus 2W equals 402. First thing I should recognize is, have we gotten rid of one of our variables? Absolutely we have. That's what I'm talking about. So now all we have to do is we just have to solve for W, gather our like terms, and simplify. 2 times 85 is going to be 170 plus 2W plus 2W equals 402. So if I gather our like terms, we got 4W plus 170 equals 402. And if I subtract 170 from both sides, we get 4W equals 232. Okay, well, if we want to get W by itself, we divide by 4 and divide by 4. So the width is going to be equal to 58 meters. Perfect. We were able to get one of our variables by itself, no problem. So in our next step, we're going to have to take that information and we're going to have to put it back into one of our original equations. Well, I always like when we're doing substitution, I like to put it back into the one where we isolated the variable. So L equals 85 plus our W, which is actually 58. So that means L is 143. Perfect. Now what we have to do is we want to check our information, double check that our length and our width are actually accurate with the other equation. We haven't really done anything with this second equation yet. We used the first one, but we haven't used the second one. So 2L, which is 143, plus 2W, which is 58. Hopefully that equals 402. So 2 times 143 is 286, plus 2 times 58 is 116. Does that equal 402? Yes, it does. That equals 402. So our check worked perfectly. Our check worked phenomenally. Love it. That's exactly what we want to see. And now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to actually answer the question. It says find the dimensions of the rectangle. So, okay, we will say the length is 143 meters and the width is 58 meters. Perfect.